Today on Daughter Issues, can I make Talissa feel old? Let's find out. Get every single episode plus video and talk to us in the comments at daughterpod.com. Happy birthday, Talissa. You just turned 19 whole years old.
I did.
My little baby is 19. That feels so weird.
Yeah, that is
Feels
really weird.
so
It
weird.
feels weird to me too because I've always been the baby. I think I've always been young, so it's just weird. I've always known people 19, and now I'm like,
Is there something in your mouth?
okay, no,
You know, like a tongue piercing or something?
no.
Oh, you open? Oh, I guess it was just light. Yeah, it looked like for a second you had a tongue piercing, and I was like, did you try to sneak that past me and see how long you could go without it?
That's a good idea, though. I'm gonna do that now.
You won't be able to hide it. I promise you.
What do you mean?
You won't. You wouldn't be able to sneak past it without me knowing you have it.
I bet I could.
No.
All right, I'm gonna do something soon, and I'm gonna hide it from you, and I'll see how.
Well, no, I'm talking about the tongue piercing specifically. There's no way.
Well, yeah,
because I had one. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you did have.
I did. I had it on my eyebrow too. If you look closely, you can see right here. I used to.
Hooligan.
Girls used to give me their belly button. It wasn't a ring. It was like a long
piercing?
stick. Yeah, but it was a
Like a bar.
a bar. Yeah, it was a bar. And I used to they would give me their bars, and then I would clean them, of course, and then I would put them in my eyebrows so it would hang down, and almost poke myself in the eye for just no reason other than I liked the way it looked to have metal hanging out of my face. Setting good examples here. So I want to see if I can make you feel old.
Okay.
So,
Oh no.
So today's show is a list of things that were invented since Talissa was born.
I remember even whenever the first time I can recall feeling old, I was like 14.
Yeah.
And I was
You were 14 when you first felt old?
I was doing dance class. I was the teacher of this dance class, and I did all ages, but the first class was from like 4 years old to 7 years old. And I remember there was like 5 of them, I think, 5 or 6 of them, and we were doing like just like freestyling or whatever, and I put on Justin Bieber and because it was clean, and they didn't know who Justin Bieber was. And I was like, what? Like my world was just like going insane because none of them knew who Justin Bieber was. And I was like, I mean, I'm not like a huge fan. He's great and all, but I just like, you have to know of him. Like that is just like, and I was like, I'm old. I don't know. And I remember that too. And that was when I was 14. So I'm worried about what other things I don't know about.
So Talissa, you are older. Technically not. This one's really close, but you're basically the same age as Facebook.
What?
Yeah, there's only a couple of months difference.
Really?
Facebook was in 2004, and they started rolling it out to college students first, and then as its popularity grew, it eventually took over MySpace. MySpace is what I used when I was your age.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Facebook.
That's crazy.
Facebook and you, same age?
I never really used Facebook. Like I remember I think I have like 1 or 2 Facebook accounts, but I don't use them. Like I remember I had to make one, like or update one or make one, a new one because it was like for some registering something. It just made it easier, but like I don't use Facebook like that either. It's just always been like a...
Well, since you started coming up and had a mobile device,
Instagram.
There was Instagram and Snapchat.
Yeah.
So why would you? I mean...
True.
I actually don't even use it. I don't use Facebook.
Did you used to?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was the primary thing I used for most stuff. As a matter of fact, on my old podcast, we had a private group on Facebook for people who signed up to be paid subscribers so that they had kind of like Patreon now, where they had access to us and messages and things like that.
Yeah.
And that was all on Facebook. It literally helped build the show that I have and the life that I have now.
I remember, I think we went, can you go live on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay, didn't we do that for Dogma Debate at one point?
Yep. Back in the day, we went live for Dogma Debate. Yep.
Which is rebooting.
It is. Firefox.
What?
You are older than Firefox.
No.
Yeah.
I used Firefox.
Yeah.
I remember using it for one of my first online schools.
Yeah. When you were born, the main browser was Internet Explorer. And
The E.
The E, yeah. The E.
The blue E.
Yep.
With the gold.
It was Internet Explorer. The gold thing was new, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think that's all that I remember it as.
Yeah. And then Firefox, I don't know if Firefox took over immediately. It took a while, and then it got to the point where people were using Firefox for stuff. In fact, still today, and I use a Mac, I use Safari. There's a lot of stuff that crashes with Safari. If you're unable to ever log into something and you're like, what the hell's going on? Just try opening Firefox. Everything works with Firefox. Firefox and Chrome, for some reason, it just
that's
works.
why I did my school on it, because with Safari, I think there was one day where I just didn't do schoolwork because I was like, it's not working. And it was just Safari. And then you like came home and you're like, next time, just open a new browser. And I was like, maybe. Or I'll just say it's not working. But yeah, no, I do remember using Firefox on and off.
This next one isn't really an invention because it was invented before, but it actually reached popularity by the time you were alive, is the iPod. And I don't know if you ever even had one, did you?
I think I did.
Did you?
I think Grandma got me a pink one.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think she might have got
And it wasn't an iPod. It was
one.
just an MP3 player.
It was pink and had...
Yeah. iPod is specifically the Apple brand.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I remember, I think I called it an iPod. But
Yeah,
it was pink and it had a white circle on it.
Okay.
That's all I remember. I think I was like, this was in the DS time realm. This is
Nintendo DS.
This is Oakleaf. And
the daycare.
And DS.
Yeah.
And I think at some point within those months I had the iPod. Same thing.
So did it look like this? Turn around and look at this. Did it look like that? The little circle on it?
Yes.
Okay.
But
maybe you did have it.
It was dark pink.
Yeah, maybe you did have it.
And then I could connect headphones to the top, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think that was my first like experiences of having like social anxiety. I've always been an extrovert, but I remember like being really little, and I remember Braden went to the Oakleaf, so I was like the little sister, and I was just kind of like there. I remember like my first few days, I guess first few times that I remember being social, and I remember just like wanting to sit in the corner with my iPod and just be like and play on the iPod, but that only lasted me. I got bored after like 30 minutes, and I was like, I need more entertainment.
You need human interaction.
Yeah, and then I went and found friends. But.
Yeah, I would have guessed that the iPod was way before you, but apparently that's not the case. The iPod,
I took it to Oakleaf.
And the iPod was kind of the birth of the iPhone, by the way.
Really?
Because it was like we had these cell phones that were making phone calls, and then we had these iPods that looked kind of like cell phones, but were.
Why have two devices when you can have one?
Yeah, right. And then so the iPhone was like,
there was
just
never an
combine them.
iPhone 1, though, was there?
Yeah.
There was.
It wasn't called the 1. It was just called the iPhone.
Oh, then so the iPhone 3GS is not the third generation?
No, I think.
Or it is?
I don't know for sure. I think 3GS may be the the cell phone signal it could connect. The 3G versus 2G cellular service.
Oh.
So I don't know for sure.
That was the first iPhone I had.
Yeah. Talissa, you are older than Bluetooth.
I believe that.
Bluetooth did not exist.
I believe that.
Which means I spent my first 23 years of life
with wires.
With wires. Like quite literally when I needed to move a file, and these people are going to relate to this, I promise you. When you had to move a file, it was such a pain in the ass. It was saving something. It was like making a copy of it or downloading it or plugging something in and saving it to the whatever external hard drive. Here she goes. She's about to yawn, y'all. I'm losing her. I'm saying facts from the 90s. She's holding the yawn in, and it's coming out of her eyeballs in the form of tears.
I'm like wires and like all this extra.
We had to transfer the data onto the external thing.
Hold on,
and then unplug it.
Can I explain why I get tired? Okay.
Yeah, it sounds like
this is like
teaching.
this is the expanded form of what could be a simple equation. That's what it feels like because of the time that I grew up in. I'm like, there's simpler form. We figured out easier math. And you're like, yeah, but we need to, this is plus this equals this. And that's why this means 2. And I'm like.
Do you think though that it helps Is there any benefit at all in understanding where your technology came from to better understand where it could go in the future and how to operate it today?
Absolutely. That doesn't mean school has trained me to be bored and hearing these types of things.
Well, without this stuff that happened, you would not have what you have today. So to me, it's really cool to see the transition. And you've only seen the new stuff, so it's like you didn't.
It's cool to hear about it, and sometimes I'm like, whoa, that's crazy you had to do that. And then I'm just like, well, I don't have to deal with it, so why think about it? I don't want to I don't want to have to go through that.
So like if you were in the office with me and I needed to give you a file, I would literally have to plug in a USB flash drive, a little thumb drive, which was cool that we had little ones because there was giant ones originally. I would plug that in. I would copy the file over, and I would be watching the little. It would show little papers flying into another envelope. It would be
on the same.
It would be show. Yeah. It wasn't a laptop. It was a computer. We didn't have laptops. And it would just be going. And just little papers showing that it's flying in there. It was just like a little loading symbol. And then when that was done, I would have to go in and properly eject from what you would call Finder. It was called My Computer back then on a PC. I'd have to go in and safely eject that device, because if I just unplugged it, you could forget about it. It would destroy the data. It would ruin the hard drive. Like, you couldn't just rip it out of there. You had to go safely eject it. And then you unplug it.
Wait a minute.
And then I would take it to your computer. You would plug it into your USB, wait for it to load, wait for it to read. There she goes. There'd be lots of computer noises.
Can't help it.
And then you would see the drive show up as one of your options. Then you could copy it over, and then you'd be watching your files go because you were uploading.
I would
from
at that
the
point,
machine
and
to
I'm
your
too
computer.
like my
That's
brain.
instant gratification.
My brain is too. I would be over it, whatever I was doing. I'd be like, this isn't worth it at this point. I could be doing so many other things right now. And actually, that probably wouldn't even be true for that time. It's probably the only important thing, and like, you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, now I'd be spending my time doing other things that using Wi-Fi and phones that I wouldn't be able to do at that time. So I guess it would be worth it for me to sit there and just watch the papers.
Well, we didn't. We didn't. Don't think that we just sat there and stared at it. We just changed. Our lives were such that we would start the process and then go do other stuff. It's like,
I bet
It's like a washing machine. Like, in the future, if they find a way to instantly wash something, that'd be like your grandkids going, "I can't believe you. You should just stand there and stare at the washing machine."
No,
we would go do other stuff. You would start the download and then
How
walk
long
away.
did it take?
It just depended.
Well, because I don't walk away from anything downloading. Maybe like uploading or exporting, it might take a while.
It's the same concept as that.
Okay.
Imagine that.
So
Except it was one picture, like a JPEG. You would click it and it would start loading like this. And you just like see part of someone's face.
That's crazy.
It took forever.
So whenever I worked at this market, they started kind of like seeing that, okay, you can handle a lot more things. So they started taking me like upstairs, like helping me helping with them doing papers and stuff. And the owners are, older, and they're 50s, 60s.
Calm down. Sheesh.
Maybe late 60s. I would say maybe late 60s. I wouldn't say you can call yourself old until after you're 70.
Okay. Well, I just don't like you lumping in 50s
older,
and 60s.
50s and 60s, because they're right next to each other and barely not even 10 years apart.
Well, 51 and 69.
Yep.
So that's bigger than 10.
50s and 60s, basically.
I don't like it.
Somewhere near there. Anyways, point is, everything was manual. That's what it feels like. It's good. Taken back to your time. Yeah, where you had to crank the windows.
Crank stuff, yeah.
Manual.
I had to crank cars to start them.
Yeah, no, you didn't do that. It took me a second.
The first cars you did, I just wasn't around for that. It was the early 1900s.
That was a long time ago.
Yeah.
You weren't, yeah. Okay.
Talissa, come on.
No, I know.
Okay.
I forgot what I was talking about.
Why are you so violent?
What was I saying?
I don't know.
Oh, so they started they needed help with papers and stuff, and they started to trust me. So they started taking me upstairs and doing all that. And there was this old computer, and I just remember being like, "Are you serious right now?" Because it was just first of all, everything was huge. You could see everything. I was like, it's just, I feel like I had to back up. I felt old because I had to back up, but it wasn't because I couldn't see it, because it was just was a lot to look at. And
Did you bring your laptop?
I did.
Oh, okay, good.
And I remember looking at like the folders, and she was showing me, like the main person who was doing it was showing me how to like do everything. And I remember like all of it was like paychecks and payrolls, but we had to move like these documents or these folders over. I remember just being like, I don't have an amazing understanding of technology, but I can normally figure it out on my laptop and on my phone because of how I grew up. I can be a little techie sometimes and turn it off and on. I can figure it out. But like how we were doing things on that, I was like, and how little she even knew about the actual thing. It just seemed like I was like, why do you do that? She's like, I don't know. And I've been like, you've been here for how many years and you don't know why you do this? And she's like, I don't know. I just click the button and it works. And I'm like, that sounds about right. And and that kind of makes sense because I feel like a lot of people in their 60s were trained to do that when they were younger from adults, like not really explaining or answering questions, just being like, that's how it works and that's how it is.
Well, they also just don't understand the technology.
That too.
The people in their 60s.
That's another factor. So I remember I remember being there being like, no, I have questions that I feel like should have answers, especially if I'm going to be doing this. What if something goes wrong? How do I do this? She just didn't know. And I'm just like, okay, well, I guess I just don't know either. And I'm just going to do it however it's been working for her.
I'll call my dad when it breaks.
Yeah.
And
but like,
we'll come down and restart the computers.
How long everything took. And like, even the font of the letters, I was like, I haven't seen that before.
Oh, yeah. Well, trust me, I'm going to make you sit through it.
What? I don't want to sit through that.
HD TV. You are older than HD TV.
No, I'm not. There's movies older than me that are in HD.
Yeah, they can remaster them.
Oh.
I want to fact check this. I don't really believe it. I want someone to fact check it. It's just in this list. It says HD TV and DVR. I remember Blu-ray. I remember HD being a common thing when in like 2005 when
it got popular.
It was pretty new. But it says right here, in 2004, high-definition televisions were offering customers unimaginably crisp images at high prices. So I think it's saying it started in 2004, which makes sense. Do you remember their first TV? It was a square.
It was.
That was a 4:3 ratio.
And
it was 4:3. It wasn't 16:9. You know that. You know what that 16:9 is, right?
My first TV with the box behind it?
Yeah, it was the screen was a square, almost a square. It's not a perfect square.
The gray TV.
Yeah, 4:3 means if it's inches, it's 4 inches one way, 3 inches the other way. So it's almost 4:4.
Yeah,
but it's not quite a square, right? 16:9 is long, 16
like
and 9 this way. So whatever it is, feet, inches, millimeters, whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, and DVR, the ability to pause TV or record something and then rewind it did not exist until you were born. We were not doing that until you were on Earth.
I believe that. And the only reason I believe that is because I remember the like old version of that, I think. Just how our remote looked. And I remember like, I don't remember doing it myself. I remember you or mom or Braden or somebody being like, I'm going to save this episode. And then you had to like go down and click a button. And then like, I remember like the gel remote, or you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So the first iteration was just DVR, which
what
is
does that mean?
Digital video recorder, I believe. So basically, what we used to have to do is we had a VCR. Remember the one that played the big VHS tapes? We'd have a VCR attached to the TV, and if a TV show came on that we liked, there she goes.
I'm trying really hard not to.
We would pop in a blank tape and hit record, and it would record what was on the TV, so we could watch it later.
You had to have a whole new item.
Right. This for the first.
What did you?
Well, hold on. Let me get this out. What?
The DVD was what it was called, right? When it came out.
No, VHS tape. It was a tape. You've seen VHS tapes.
Yes, the VHS. Okay.
We would put that into a VCR.
No, hold on. What's on it before you put it in there?
It's blank. I said blank.
You have to buy them though?
Yes. You buy blank.
You can buy blank ones.
Yes.
Were they expensive?
No.
Okay, that makes sense.
You would buy blank ones and then pop it in and then record.
Like paper.
Well, more expensive than paper, but yeah, same idea.
Okay.
But you wouldn't record. I mean, I guess some people did. There are people that you can go to their homes now. They have stacks of VHS tapes, stuff that they recorded from the 80s and 90s. Lucky for us, they're uploading them to YouTube. So one of our episodes is going to be you watching commercials and trying to guess what year they're from.
Oh, God.
That's going to be so fun.
That's going to be really fun. I bet I can get close.
I don't know.
I can get close.
I don't know.
I can get close.
I don't know. So anyway, so DVR originally was just this digital way. It was still its own separate item, but it was this digital way to just hit record and be like, I want to watch this football game later, record, and then you could go about your day and then come home and be like, I'm going to watch this game now that I didn't get to see earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first idea. It wasn't long after that DVR started recording while you were watching live TV, which gave you the ability to pause live television.
So you couldn't even pause until after I was born.
Right. I could never pause live TV.
Oh, live.
Yeah. You used to have to record.
Oh, I see what you're
It's
saying.
only recording. You couldn't control anything. It was, if you stopped it, it was just going to stop recording. So it was just recording, and then after it was done, you could hit stop. Then you could rewind, play, pause, and all kinds of stuff because you're watching a digital file of that program.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But then shortly after that, they got smarter and they developed the ability to record while you're watching, so that it was always ready to pause live TV, and that was mind-blowing for us, especially for like football games.
You could rewind.
I would see a catch and be like, oh my God, I could hit pause 30 seconds back and be like, watch this play, and hit play, and then it would do it again. Like that, we just thought that was the greatest thing ever. That did not exist until 2004 to probably 2006-ish, I'm
wow,
guessing.
I didn't know that.
Skype. Are you going to be yawning through this whole podcast? Because I don't like that.
I'm trying really
Wake
hard.
up, dude.
I'm trying. You are...
God.
I'm doing my best over here.
And you still have to go to a comedy show tonight. You're not going to make it.
No, probably not.
Have you had coffee today? Any caffeine?
Nope.
We're going to fix that.
I know.
Okay, I'm going to get you some.
I need
Or you need a nap.
No.
Skype. Let's just finish these up so you can go to sleep. Skype came out in 2004.
That's crazy. Wait, what about Zoom?
I don't know when Zoom started.
Zoom's has what? God damn.
2013.
What?
Yeah. Zoom was invented in 2013. It was one sentence. That was one fact. Are you just allergic to facts? Do facts make you sleepy?
Can you imagine if I would start sneezing every time you try to tell me something about the 80s? I'd be like,
Shut up, Dad.
we wouldn't have a podcast. Okay.
We're almost done. There's only a couple more.
No, this is fun.
Satellite radio. We never really got into satellite radio.
I don't know what you mean by that. Satellite. Oh,
so radio is just on the
radio through the satellites.
Yeah, Sirius XM, Sirius and XM used to be separate. They used to be competition, and then they came together.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was XM radio, and then Sirius radio, and they came together as Sirius XM. That's where Howard Stern is. Like there are lots of shows. I've got friends with their own shows on Sirius XM. Instead of doing podcasts, they do them live for satellite radio, and then they record them as podcasts and put them up later.
Man, but isn't there like a solar flare coming? It's gonna wipe out our satellites or something. We're not gonna have any Wi-Fi. How does Bluetooth? Does Bluetooth use the satellites?
Okay. So
no, does Bluetooth
I have some questions. Since you moved out, you've been spending a lot of time on the YouTubes?
I just have questions.
Oh, that's what they all say. I'm just asking questions. What's really going on in the federal government?
Did you see that bird?
Pizza or pedophiles?
Did you see that bird?
You decide. I'm only asking questions.
Did you see that bird that was like frozen in midair and everyone was like,
yeah.
What was that about?
It wasn't really frozen in midair.
It's the government.
It's the angle. It's the angle that they're filming. It's wind current.
Did you see?
There's a plane.
No. Hold on. Wait a minute.
Listen, lady.
Wait.
If you want to come on my other podcast, Dogma Debate, and talk about your crazy ideas,
recent video.
I will be happy to have you on my show as a guest and debunk your craziness.
Crazy ideas. I have questions. Is this how you treat people with questions?
Yes.
Wow.
Bring your evidence, lady.
Wow.
Bring your evidence.
No, I said, have you seen it?
I don't want to get...
It was a recent video of a bird just like in air.
Yeah.
Super
I don't think it was recent, but...
It was recent.
Okay. I've seen a
Y'all
video...
know what I'm talking about.
I've seen a video. I don't think it's as recent as you think it is, but maybe there's a new version of it, or maybe there's a new one. Maybe it happened again. I've seen airplanes like that. Like where it looks like an airplane is stuck in the air.
That's different. That's far away.
Okay.
Same thing with birds that are far away. It's
Okay,
fine. It's
let's talk.
fine.
Okay.
But this one was
Okay.
like really close by.
All right, but birds have existed before you. So
That doesn't mean
can we get back on topic?
You can't defy physics. But yes, go ahead.
It doesn't defy physics. It's an optical illusion.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know what's going on.
All right. Satellite radio, cell phone innovations is on the list.
What is that?
Just like big improvements in the technology is an innovation. Like a laptop was an innovation to the home computer. It's completely reinventing the same thing. So it says, although the iPhone, Android, and other proper smartphones were still a few years away, in 2004, cell phone manufacturers were still bragging about the revolutionary features that they were bringing to their devices. So in 2004, there were just those flip phones. Did you ever see the flip phone?
Yes, I think Papa had one.
Did you have to use one before? Did you ever make a phone call or let's see?
No, on a Sidekick.
Yeah, but that was a full keyboard. It was sideways. You never had to do the T9 texting?
The what?
The T9 texting?
I don't know what that is. T9. T9. What does that mean?
That's what it's called when you would have to push multiple buttons to get one letter because they were all on the same button.
Yeah.
That's T9. You would have to send messages like that to people instead of just typing it out.
That the way of doing that is called T9?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a T9 keyboard, I believe. Like instead of each letter having its own button,
which is insane.
3 letters were on one button.
Okay.
Well, because that's how phones were.
Yeah.
So you've never used one? Just asking. Oh. Well, on July 8th.
Oh, gosh.
On July 8th.
No, I don't want to.
Talissa will be experiencing this. Your grandma sent me her first flip phone. And I'm not showing you anymore, but you're going to be using this and
I'm going to be using
this. Yep. Oh, have a look-see. Have a look-see. Oh, it's going to be so fun. Oh.
What is that?
I've got some tasks for you to complete. And you're going to be using some fun stuff to get it done.
Oh, no.
Now, full disclosure, I tried to get that phone activated with AT&T. The networks don't exist anymore. They can't activate it. So we're going to use a combination of a modern phone for you to make phone calls, but you're going to have to use that book and you're going to have to type on that phone. And I'm going to have some simple tasks for you to do on this phone. And it's all going down July 8th. We're doing a live stream
My goodness.
for Talissa to explore this technology. And there are a couple of other things that she's going to have to do that I haven't shown her.
More items?
I'm saving some other surprises, but it's in the same wheelhouse. It's kind of the same thing. We're going to be live streaming right here from this studio, and you can get tickets to the online event at nowherecomedy.com. nowherecomedy.com, July 8th. You could be in the virtual audience. You could turn your cameras on. You can see us and interact with us. And we're even going to do a VIP at the end of the show. So get your VIP tickets, get your regular tickets. And
that'll be fun.
We're going to be doing that July 8th. She knew we were doing something July 8th. She didn't know what it was. Now she knows.
Now I know.
I have been looking for a phone book for months.
I think I remember.
I've stopped into random stores and been like, do you have any phone books? And they're like,
I'm pretty sure I remember like a year ago. We were walking and I think you were just looking and I was like,
you're right.
What? What are you asking?
We were in a record store. We were in an old record store and I said, do you happen to have any phone books? And they were like, let me look. And they were like, nope, we got rid of them. I'm like, you have records. They sell cassette tapes and they had no phone books. So I'm going to have you doing some yawn tasks. July 8th at nowherecomedy.com. We're also going to post the links at daughterpod.com for you to go get your tickets. Early bird tickets are available right this second.
Early bird is awesome.
Because they're cheaper if you get them early. Nowherecomedy.com. Nowherecomedy.com. And when I say you can turn your camera on and be a part of the audience, we'll literally be able to see you and interact with you. And the VIP folks get to ask questions and interact. So that's going to be a blast. Join us live at nowherecomedy.com to watch Talissa do some T9 texting on this thing.
And it's basically like being there, but you don't have to deal with parking and with driving and going outside the comfort of your home. So that's the awesome part about it. I did not know we were going to be doing that, but I'm excited. I'm excited to try it out, and I think I can figure it out for the most part.
I think you'll do all right.
Are those the yellow pages?
Yeah.
I forgot what they do.
What they do. That's funny that she looks at a thing and goes, what does it do? No, we did the doing. It just sat there. We did the doing.
That's why I yawn so much. I don't want to do the doing or listen to the doing. It does it for me now.
The cool thing about July 8th, it's a Saturday, but we're doing it early in the afternoon. We're doing it at 4 p.m. So if you have plans Saturday night, you can still join us at 4 o'clock. It's 4 p.m. Pacific, which will be 7 on the East Coast. And it's only for an hour, and then we're doing a 30-minute VIP Q&A if you upgrade your ticket. So
that'll be fun to hang out too.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to hang out with people. It's going to be a short thing, but it's going to be a blast. Go get your tickets right now at nowherecomedy.com. Okay, I'm going to get back to this list, and then we're going to wrap up and get out of here. Blogging was named the word of the year. Do you know what a blog is?
Yeah, it's like a website, but somebody wrote it. And it's just one big paragraph.
No, there were different paragraphs. You know, Dogma Debate, my first podcast, started as a blog.
Really? The
idea was I would read something either about religion or politics or something that I didn't agree with or whatever, and I would type it up, and then I'd be like, what are your thoughts on this? And people would reply. It was like a forum. That's what we would call it back then.
Like a digital debate?
Yeah, and it started, and what would happen is the site got so popular, I couldn't respond to everybody fast enough. It got to the point where it was getting like 50,000 hits a day, and I couldn't keep up. And I was like, there should be a way for us to like talk to one another and record it. And that's how my podcast was born. And 13 years later, here I am still doing it. So yeah, blogging. That's pretty much it.
No one does blogging anymore.
People still do blogs.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What about newspaper?
Yeah, they still do real newspapers as well.
I use newspaper for art sometimes, but do they actually still deliver it to be like, look at what happened?
It's more
Saturday.
rare, but yes. Yep. When your grandpa died 2018, when I got to his house, there were papers in the front yard.
Really?
There's still some. Yeah, I mean, of course it's going away, but
it's taking up. Product that we could be using for other stuff, or even not using the product, but just saving trees and doing other stuff like that. So it's just
some people just like holding it. They just like reading it. And by the way, that's what we did on the toilet before phones.
That type of
newspaper.
That thing to like, I think will die off. I think it'll become like a niche. I think people like doing it because it reminds them of their childhood or their mom or dad that used to do it. So I think that's why they like it. But I think, it sounds a little messed up, but I think that generation will filter out. Yeah, as everybody gets older.
There's a website that listed the top 3 blog builders of 2023. And they show that WordPress, Wix, and web.com are blogging sites like Squarespace, stuff like that.
It's probably just a niche thing. It's still a thing. It's a niche thing. Enough people are interested, but so it's not.
Some people like to read. Like they find a blogger that they like, and that blogger doesn't have their own TV or radio show or podcast.
It a blog? Like what?
It's like
Like whenever I would do research for like animals and stuff, would I find, are those considered blogs?
You probably would, but you can't use blogs as not, at least you don't normally use blogs as citable sources when it comes to research. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be, unless they have citations in them to say, this is the journal I got this from, this is the paper, this is the proof, this is the picture, yada, yada. For the most part, it's opinions. For the most part, it would be like me having a cooking blog.
Anybody.
And yeah, so like I may do one podcast a week, but daily I'm doing quick little recipe ideas. You would go subscribe to my blog to get updates anytime I post a recipe. So it's like it's like a written version of a short podcast or something. I used to do one and now I don't. I used to be a paid writer for a blog. There was a huge company called Pathos, I think. And they have
was it the brown?
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
brown
I think they
lettering
still exist, actually.
With like the white glowy stuff around it?
Yeah. Yep. And they still have it.
It is, right?
Yep.
Didn't they have it in magazine form?
Mm-hmm. For a while.
I think I remember that because you had a magazine holder in the office.
Yep.
And you had a bunch of magazines.
Those were ads for Pathos on the magazines.
Oh.
Yeah, those were different magazines.
That's the only reason why I know that.
Yeah.
I just like went back into like when I saw that when I was like 7.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Because you had the whole front office as your...
Yeah. So now it's the world's homepage for all religion. And I used to... It's a religious blog, but they also welcomed people who thought outside their box. They would say if you grew up a certain way and then changed your mind, we want to see your blog here. And so there were skeptic blogs. There were people who'd said, I used to believe this and now I believe this. And they welcome all of it. It was great. For a while, I was a paid writer.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's like we have our opinions, but free thought for everybody. It's amazing.
Yeah. And you know what I ended up doing? I made a series of like 40-something blogs. And then I was like, wait a minute, I could just turn this into my book. And so I got permission from them because they paid me to write. They technically could have owned it. They were like, we pay you a license to use it. We don't own the content, so you can still use it. So I took that, reworded some of the things, and made it into my first book because I'd already done the groundwork. We don't have to promote it or talk about it here, but yeah,
that makes sense.
I'm just describing the blog situation. So
that makes sense. It's interesting how that could quickly turn into be like I feel like that's why we have updated and advanced things. It's more like I don't like doing this. Like, how can I make this faster? And then we just pick the faster option, and that's basically like the blogging to podcasting to.
All right, I think your food's ready, so I'm done. That was my list.
How do you know my food's ready?
I heard it beep. Along with all the airplanes and the motorcycles and everything. Oh yeah, the food's definitely ready. Oh. Plus, I know how long it takes to make the food, so I know it happened. So let's go do that. And also, we got to get to the comedy show. I'm hosting tonight, and we have to be there in 57 minutes, and you still have to eat, and it's about a 20-minute drive. So we got to get out of here.
We do.
I'm so looking forward to July 8th. I hope you join us. Go get tickets now before the price goes up, and we're going to have a blast. So there we go. Things that Talissa is older than. Fun one for your birthday, and happy birthday.
Thank you. This microphone, it smells like Cheerios.
All right. Well, my last guest on my other show might have eaten Cheerios. I'll let him know.
I think you did.
Okay.
Ask him. I'm just curious.
All right.
Just because we have to go and I'm hungry, the podcast has ended.